The riddle video I suggested last time, the one about stuff before dinosaurs and the orange thumbnail. Hold up. Oh. Alright then. This is what Earth looked like before dinosaurs. Giant bug boys. Sweet, merciful God. Making thumbnails, is it safe to say that it's officially become like a lost art? This is just sad. It's comforting to know that before the dinosaurs there were apparently fucking War of the Worlds tripods and what looks to be a miniature version of the Gigasloposaurus. Yeah, there is the new pet shop video from our good friend Bass Fishing Productions. I don't know if anyone wants to go back to that guy. Hold up. Has he made anything else new since our last Sludge? Oh my god, it's another dark web video. No. Oh, the yellow tint of AI. Oh, it calls to me. Okay, we're watching this one first. At the very least first. I don't know if we're gonna watch this, but I'm tempted. Ooh, I have to know what horrible creatures will he hold with his bare hands, because he has to. All right.
Tyrannosaurus.
All right then. That was easy. Jurassic Park world footage, done and done.
One of the most dreadful predators of primeval times. It could develop a...
The most dreadful predators of primeval times. Oh, that's 30 miles an hour. That is...
speed of up to 50 kilometers per hour.
No, it couldn't. I'm gonna say that's an outdated fact, because, like, the T-Rex speed thing has been an ongoing debate for a while. I want to say, like, estimates of around 30-ish miles an hour were around... those were around Jurassic Park times-ish. Across those two, 9 seconds into the video.
The terrifying creature was equipped with 6 dozen sharp fangs 30 centimeters each. And as a bonus, it had perfect stereo vision to spot prey from afar while staying out of sight.
Okay, stereo vision isn't quite how it works. Stereo hearing, yes. The word you're looking for is stereoscopic. 30 centimeters each. I want to say 30 centimeters at the longest. Like, at the longest, like, counting the roots and everything, yeah, T-Rex teeth could get to, like, 12 inches. Or, yeah, like, binocular vision. But not stereo. Like, stereo isn't... like, these are stereo.
And all of this, despite its massive size. But what if I...
Wait. What despite its massive size?
It had perfect stereo vision to spot prey from afar while staying out of sight. And all of this
despite its size. It has good eyesight despite... Mother... Listen, we can't do this again. We can't do this again. You're gonna encourage people to do this. I swear to fucking God. I appreciate it. I appreciate the money. Tell me you bought food after yesterday. Behave yourself. I can't be responsible for your financial missteps. Yeah. It had good eyesight despite its big size. Those two aren't correlated at all. I'm pretty sure elephants and, like, giraffes have good eyesight. They're big animals. So you're just being very silly at this point.
Despite its massive size. But what if I tell you all these adaptations of the famous Lizard King seem absolutely trivial compared to the evolutionary tricks of other less-known creatures from deep antiquity?
I probably wouldn't believe you because T-Rex is fucking absurd. Because it's not just like, oh, it's got good eyesight and it's big. It's also on top of the fact that it's a ridiculous macro predator that has the strongest bite force of any land animal that's ever existed. And it is weirdly, like, the only large carnivore in its ecosystem, which is very contrary to a lot of other formations in the Mesozoic. So, yeah, I wouldn't really believe you. I love other creatures from antiquity, but you're going to have to convince me that they're, like, you know, more impressive than T-Rex.
Let's do our own excavation to find out how a half-reptile, half-pig survived the most terrible cataclysm in Earth's history, and probably even became humanity's forebearer. We'll also
I have no idea how, like, what the connective tissue is between Lystrosaurus, since that's what he's talking about there, Lystrosaurus and eventually becoming, humanity, right? Like, I don't even know if Lystrosaurus is necessarily, like, the progenitor of all mammals, and calling it half pig is not quite accurate. Superficially, you could say it looks like a pig. Okay, so cynodonts were the group of synapses that led to modern mammals, not dicynodonts. So that's wrong. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, T-Rex comparison. But it's T-Rex comparison the other way around by saying that the things that are coming up are cooler.
discover what other ancient monsters literally had razors for teeth. In short, what incredible animals of ancient times did you never know existed?
Well, I mean, like, everything I've seen here I've known existed. Lystrosaurus, Dunkleosteus, a mosasaur. I know those things existed.
Animals we know really well have absolutely crazy ancestors. The species we know today only began evolving after the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event.
Cenozoic with a Z with a K? Is this like translated or something? I really hope he's not trying to imply with the footage here that ornithomimosaurs evolved into an ostrich, because that is not how it works. Ornithomimosaurs, like Struthiomimus and Ornithomimus, yeah, I have to look at this whole thing. Okay. Okay, Paleozoic is spelled correctly. We got like the Pre-Cambrian over here. And then the Cambrian explosion. Yeah, I don't know why the K. Could be Cyrillic. Fuck it. Where's the backwards R?
Gene extinction event, which annihilated dinosaurs over 60 million years ago.
Why are you pointing to 55 million years ago then?
It might sound strange, but paleontological finds from that period turned out among the most unusual. This is a mammal called Doedicurus.
Doedicurus, first of all. People always, like, I don't necessarily blame him for mispronouncing this, however, that is a butchered pronunciation. So, usually when you see, like, consonant OE like this, it's like, it's a hard E sound. You get the same thing in, like, Coelophysis, or fucking, that one sauropod, like, Opisthocoelocadia. Like, Coelophysis is one that I see a lot of people struggle with, because it's like, C-O-E. It's like, Colophysis. No, that's not quite right. It's Coelophysis. And also, Doedicurus is not from the Paleogene extinction event. I don't know where you're getting that from. And yeah, this is from after the dinosaurs. So why are we talking about what was Earth like before the dinosaurs, when now we're talking about Doedicurus, which I want to say is from the Pliocene, but he's saying it's from the Paleogene extinction event. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god, we're a minute and a half into this thing.
The first representative of the species appeared on Earth 2 million years ago. And
then why are you saying it's from, like, right after the dinosaurs went extinct?
Became extinct relatively recently, only 8,000 years ago.
Why it went extinct is still unclear. However, it could have been due to a variety of factors, such as climate change, hunting by humans, and being outcompeted by other herbivorous species.
At the same time, Doedicurus was herbivorous and relatively harmless. Scientists think...
Okay, so he's not saying, like, oh, despite being this huge badass, it was an herbivore. Like, he's just saying, like, it is an herbivore. I wouldn't necessarily call it harmless, though, because it's got, you know, the giant fucking morning star on its tail. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it harmless. Some of the other glyptodonts that don't have weaponry such as this, I could maybe give that to you. I mean, they are armadillos, so maybe if you touch them, you'd have a chance of contracting leprosy. So that's not necessarily the most harmless.
It was the ancestor of the modern-day cingulata. However, today's...
I don't think that glyptodonts were ancestors of modern-day armadillos. I think that they were kind of just already existing side by side with one another. Again, like, this is just not how this works. Glyptodonts were ancient armadillos and like modern day armadillos were basically already existing alongside them. Like we get the same thing when we talk about like, oh, dinosaurs became birds. It's not like the meteor struck and then T-Rex snaps its two fingers and becomes a bird. So when like this extinction event ended up happening, it's not like glyptodons were just like shrink. Not quite not quite what happened there.
Successors of the walking rocks weigh no more than 50 kilograms. That is less than Doedicurus' tail alone.
I'm going to assume when he like makes a measurement of like 110 pounds there, he's talking about like the modern day giant armadillos, not like was that a three-banded one? Yeah, three-banded armadillo. That's the one that can like roll up into a ball. That's the one that you see in The Road to El Dorado, because it can roll up into a ball. And then the hot lady like slaps it against her hip. Good shit.
A similar thing happened to megatheriums, which were among the largest.
I'm going to assume that he's going to say that megatherium evolved into modern day sloths, which it didn't. Again, these were evolving side by side. Megatherium did not survive. Modern sloths did. They share common ancestry, but Megatherium is not the ancestor to modern day sloths. And also was not from before the dinosaurs. Lived around at the same time and place as Doedicurus, but wasn't before the dinosaurs, wasn't during the Paleogene extinction event. So, dear God.
Mammals ever living on Earth. Their oldest remains date well back to 20 million years ago, and the most recent ones are only 11,000 years old. A single grown-up animal could be as long as 6 meters, and they weighed around 4 tons.
Is that an underestimate? Because, like, I've seen a Megatherium skeleton in person now, and they are enormous animals. They are so big. They're so much bigger than you think. I think that's probably accurate. Maybe it's just like taller than I thought it would be. I don't know, but it is like they're enormous animals.
When scientists first came upon a Megatherium skeleton, they long argued about which family to include it in. It appeared there was nothing like it on Earth currently. However, somebody eventually compared the Megatherium's paw with a limb of a modern three-toed sloth. The structure was practically identical. So
I would really appreciate it if you said who ended up comparing it, because I imagine that would be very useful scientific information. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be Cuvier, because like that's the name that just jumped into my head. It's like, was that Cuvier? I don't know, man.
So it turns out giant sloths ruled Earth millions of years ago. Moreover, they were most probably just as slow. And when early humans began hunting...
I don't think giant sloths would have been just as slow as, like, modern-day sloths. Because modern-day sloths are adapted to a very different lifestyle than the ground sloths. Their metabolisms are way fucking slower, I imagine. Like, they only come down from trees once a month, more or less, to, like, drink and poop. So, I imagine that giant ground sloths would have had to be, more mobile. Probably not the most mobile. Here's the thing. If a giant ground sloth was as slow as a modern-day sloth, it's like sitting there, like, eating a tree. Uh-oh. I'm out of tree. I guess I'll just sit here and wait for it to grow back. I don't know why sloths can't poop from trees. Like, bats have figured that out, how to, like, poop when they hang. So what are we talking about here with humans hunting giant sloths? Because, like, I imagine that giant ground sloths would have been one of the most difficult things for humans to hunt because of the fact that they are basically armor-plated.
Megatheriums, the giants simply couldn't escape. But...
we're saying that they couldn't escape. Ah, boy. Giant ground sloths were armor-plated. They had, like, they weren't just big balls of fuzz. They weren't just, like, they weren't just poofy like Manny the Mammoth, right? They had armor, like, under their skin and fur and stuff. Giant ground sloths are fucking insane creatures. in that aspect, I would actually say that they are, comparable in their coolness to T-Rex, because that's radical. But you're underplaying it by saying that, like, yeah, once humans showed up, giant ground sloths couldn't just run away from them. Is that the only thing that matters, is like the ability to run away from humans? Like, that's the only factor that makes it so you can survive? Your logic is flimsy.
There are other prehistoric monsters that could repel anyone. Feathered Gastornis, which prospered about 40 million years ago.
Is he gonna say it's a terror bird? I mean, hey, he's using an actual genus. This is again outdated in that he's probably calling it a terror bird, because he's showing this image of it like hunting a leptictidium. At the very least, he's using an actual genus of what he thinks is a forest rocket, instead of just saying like all of the forest rockets, all of forest rocketae, all of the terror birds. He's picked a genus. I'll give him that much.
Wasn't much bigger than a modern-day human. It was practically unmatched in bloodthirstiness.
Yep.
This bird could by itself easily deal with a large mammal, like a modern horse, let alone a smaller species.
Yeah, there weren't really large mammals back then. The hypothesis around the time of Walking with Beasts when this episode was made was that Gastornis was basically an early progenitor of terror birds, but now it's more believed that Gastornis was a frugivore. 10,000 ants! Eat this baby! And the fucking horrifying music plays. Even if Gastornis was, a terror bird, I don't know about its chances against a modern day horse. I don't know, man. Maybe like a young horse. Not a full grown. I don't think a full grown one though. I don't trust its chances.
Gastornis' beak was so broad and powerful that it could cut its prey in half in a single movement.
Yeah, it's prey of fruits.
But instead of wings, Gastornis only had tiny, underdeveloped limbs, which means flying was out of the question.
Okay, so in the case of actual terror birds, I feel like we've been through this before. It didn't need to fly. Hey, despite T-Rex being, like, really big with its big-ass head that could just bite the shit out of things, it didn't have wings. How come T-Rex couldn't fly? What the hell, man? How come Utahraptor couldn't fly? That's basically the same thing you're saying here, is like, why is this ground-dwelling macro predator not also flying just because it so happens to be a bird? Like, hell, even in the cases of modern-day birds that do hunt on the ground, things like red-legged Seriamas, which are the basically modern-day equivalents and closest relatives of terror birds. I'm pretty sure they are terror birds. Or secretary birds, where they just kick the shit out of snakes and stuff. Like, those ones can still fly, but they're still hunting on the ground. Like, you give them a few million more years, maybe they'll just lose the adaptation of flight because they don't need it anymore. Like, there will be individuals who aren't able to fly that are born into the population. It's just like, it doesn't really matter because they're hunting on the ground anyway. Yeah, why isn't the Fusa flying? Are they stupid?
Though the ancient bird's modern cousins, ostriches and kiwis, don't strive to conquer the heavens either, and are quite all right about it. The next prehistoric animal...
See, that's not quite correct taxonomy, because I don't know if I would say that Gastornis is particularly closely related to ratites, but whatever. You're saying that's a fucking prehistoric flightless bird. These are modern day flightless birds. Whatever. Right? What the fuck ever. Also, I have to say it once again. Gastornis is after the dinosaurs. I will leave this part of the title highlighted. Because something tells me we're gonna be here in the Cenozoic for a while. At least he's saying that, like, hey, ostriches and kiwis and, ratites, penguins, obviously, flightless birds today get along just fine. So he doesn't come to the obvious conclusion. It's like, oh, they don't need to fly. But whatever, man. At least he's like 2/3 of the way there to a conclusion. He just... Right, sorry, Gastornis is a dinosaur. My mistake. I apologize for that.
Did reclaim a new environment. Ambulocetus lived about 50 million years ago and was among the first mammals that opted to live underwater. The extended streamlined body shape enabled it to move there fast, while its limbs resembled fins, which, however, ended with ordinary webbed fingers. That means
its limbs resembled fins, which ended in ordinary webbed fingers. Man, and yeah, again, after the dinosaurs, after the Mesozoic, Ambulocetus is one of the progenitors to whales. Yeah, the vacationing Ambulocetus that just showed up in Germany, because it's from Pakistan along with Pachycetus. You will regret this, Pachycetus. The environment will force you to adapt. I just need some shrimps. I will be perfectly fine.
Ambulocetus could easily walk whenever it wished, but at the sight of a predator, it literally sank to the bottom.
Oh, video title lives would be a better replacement for non-dinosaur and dinosaur list, because that covers our bases a lot better, instead of just like forcing us to stick to dinosaur lists. I'm gonna be real, I don't know what's hunting Ambulocetus. Maybe like a really big crocodile. Maybe. I don't know of any large crocodiles that are contemporary with Ambulocetus. Because it's not like... I don't know if... I don't think Ambulocetus was like out in the ocean with sharks. It might have been freshwater. I don't know enough about Ambulocetus. Like, pretty much what I know about Ambulocetus is that like it's an early whale, and what I know about it from Walking with Beasts, which shows it in freshwater. I don't know what predators you're talking about. Like, Ambulocetus was the predator. It's basically analogous to a mammalian crocodile, or like a whale version of a modern day giant otter. They do this a lot sometimes, where it's just like they'll take this obvious predatory animal and be like, oh, but in the presence of a predator, it's just like, what predator? It is the predator. And I don't mean the predator like the movie. Certainly not the fucking, like the 2019 one, because Jesus Christ.
Scientists believe those weird hybrids gave rise to whales and...
Hybrids?
Bottom. Scientists believe those weird hybrids gave rise to whales and orcas, but...
Whales and orcas. Okay, so superficially, I would say that Ambulocetus resembles a hybrid between like a mammal and a crocodile, right? It's not a hybrid. It's just like an intermediary stage in evolution from land-based hoofed mammals into whales. And also, I always have to say this, orcas are dolphins, and dolphins are whales. So orcas are whales. So if you ever get someone who's a pedant about it, it's just like, actually, orcas aren't whales, they're actually the largest species of dolphin, then you just clap back at them by saying that all cetaceans fall under whales. And then slap them in the fucking face for daring to question your pedantry.
Unlike most of the other species, today's marine mammals exceed their ancestors in size, as Ambulocetus weighed only 5.
That's a very strange generalization. Like, I kind of understand where you're coming from there, is saying that, like, oh, hey, all of the prehistoric stuff in the past was, like, really big and awesome and way cooler than what we have today. But that's not the case for everything. That's just kind of a generalization. Yeah, same with apes and monkeys. Apes are monkeys, so if you call a chimpanzee a monkey, you're technically correct.
500 kilograms, which is 200 times less than the blue whale. But the further we go back in Earth's history, the more unbelievable and at the same time less known beasts we can find there. Today, even a preschool.
Now we're going into the Mesozoic. So we're going like, I guess we're chronologically going backwards in time, because we started at basically like the Pliocene with stuff like Doedicurus and Megatherium. Then we're going to like the Eocene with Ambulocetus and Gastornis. We're pretty much just going through different episodes of the Walking With series. Like, we were at Half Tooth, and then we were at like the Eocene episode. Like, what are we gonna get from the Walking with series next?
Or can name a dozen different dinosaurs, but they share the planet with other no less fantastic creatures. Amid the Mesozoic era, you wouldn't be as impressed by the long-known T-Rex as a 10-meter-long furry duck with claws.
Why did you go to the Jurassic when you're clearly talking about Therizinosaurus?
Claws longer than Freddy Krueger's. Might seem a paleontologist.
Also, calling it a duck is strange. I wouldn't really compare Therizinosaurus to a duck. I would compare Doedicurus to a duck because it's largely believed to have been a semi-aquatic animal based on the presence of, like, fish bones and scales in its stomach contents. Calling Therizinosaurus a duck, that's a weird one.
Fantasy, but no, you're looking at Therizinosaurus. It lived 70 million years ago and weighed about 3 tons, while its one claw was over 70 centimeters long, which is an absolute record.
What do you mean one claw? It had 3 on each hand. Are you getting this confused with like a Mononicus?
Among all creatures that have ever lived on Earth.
Or are you just saying like the longest claw that it had? That was that long? Because those are 2 very different statements. One of those statements is you're saying this was a giant alvarezsaur. The other statement is like, oh yeah, one of its claws was longer than the others, which is fair enough. A lot of theropods do that. I want to say most theropods do that, actually.
Scientists thought they'd finally found a perfect predator that could slay anyone with a single swipe. But it soon turned out that Therizinosaurus was herbivorous and quite friendly. Though
friendly? You can't determine that from fossil evidence. You know what? Based on the giant arms and claws that this guy had, I'm gonna assume that this guy, pretty friendly. People would try to pet. I'd try to pet, but I'm crazy like that. I don't know if that's saying even though it was huge/dangerous, it was an herbivore. I think it's mostly saying that, like, in spite of what was originally thought by paleontologists when it was first discovered, probably, like, due in part to the fact that it was a theropod. And, like, I think before therizinosaurs were, like, fully understood, the idea of, like, a totally herbivorous theropod was, like, unheard of. There were plenty of omnivorous theropods, like the ornithomimosaurs and, like, the alvarezsaurs, but something that, like, fully adapted to an herbivorous diet was, like, basically unheard of. And so you have this being a theropod and also, like, it's got the giant claws. It's like, maybe this was using them for hunting, but then you find, like, the skulls and teeth of close relatives like Erlikosaurus, and it's like, okay, they were doing something completely different.
Researchers are still arguing about the purpose of its gigantic claws.
No,
Most
not really.
probably, Therizinosaurus used them to defend against T-Rexes, because...
No, it didn't, because Therizinosaurus never encountered a T-Rex, or a Giganotosaurus for that matter. Therizinosaurus, you just had an example of convergent evolution earlier on with the Megatherium, was using its giant claws to browse in tall vegetation. Or if you're Jurassic World Dominion, it was using it to, like, bend over to the ground with its giant neck and claws and, like, scoop clovers into its mouth, like, yum, 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 yum. Because that was extremely comfortable for me to do there. Now, Therizinosaurus was contemporary with a very close cousin of Tyrannosaurus, which is Tarbosaurus. And if you want to say that it was contemporary with Tyrannosaurus batar, then some scientists will agree with you there. Because some scientists say that, like, Tarbosaurus and T-Rex are so closely related that they may as well be the same genus. But you said T-Rexes, that's wrong. T-Rex is North American only.
When such dangerous predators were everywhere around, even herbivores needed to be armed with several deadly accessories. However, seemingly cute and ridiculous animals may sometimes turn out to be much more bloodthirsty. Tanystropheus lived about...
Bloodthirsty. Tanystropheus. Oof. If you didn't say bloodthirst, I mean, hey, it is bloodthirsty for fish. I'm crossing this one off too. I feel like we were really getting in there with the Therizinosaurus stuff. Should I also count this as overhyping an animal? Maybe. We'll see what he actually says about Tanystropheus. And yeah, we jumped from like Therizinosaurus all the way to the late Cretaceous, all the way back to Tanystropheus. I don't know if we're sticking around the Mesozoic any longer. Quarter of the way through the video. We'll see. We'll see where things go from here.
About 230 million years ago, and could grow as long as 6 meters. It looked like someone attached a snake to a giant gecko's body. That is quite awkward, isn't it?
Someone attached a snake to a giant gecko's body. I don't know, man. That just seems like a silly comparison to me. You're basically saying it looks like a long gecko. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think for the next sludge, we'll do like misleading video title instead of non-dinosaur and dinosaur list, because that opens up our avenues so much for videos like this.
Moreover, Tanystropheus couldn't normally control its long neck, as it only consisted of 6 vertebrae.
Couldn't normally control its long neck. That's a really weird thing to say. Like, I think I understand what you're trying to say, and that like it wasn't the most mobile, but not being able to control it makes it sound like it either can't move it at all, or it's just... It's like a fucking... It's like Gmod, or it's just like slumped down on the ground. Tanystropheus just be like, oh wait, I shouldn't be alive. Also, 6 vertebrae. I think that's correct? Hold on, I have to look this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope. That's wrong. It had 9 vertebrae. At the very least. Because I'm pretty sure there's multiple different species of Tanystropheus, so it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they have different amounts of vertebrae in their neck depending on the species. Potentially. Let's look up neck was composed of 13 vertebrae, actually. Okay, so he's double wrong. So yeah, if it was made of only 6 vertebrae when it's that fucking long, I would agree with you that's probably not the most mobile. Be made up of 13? I imagine its neck was decently mobile for how long it was.
For comparison, the neck of today's swan has 23 of them. At first, scientists were sure the clumsy Tanystropheus...
Again, like now that we know how many it actually has, it's like, sure, swans have incredibly flexible necks, but I think that for what it was trying to do, Tanystropheus' amount of neck vertebrae worked out just fine.
Tanystropheus posed no threat to other species and only ate small fish.
You just said it was bloodthirsty. Fuck me. I guess we're not overhyping the animal as being more badass than it was, unless you count the opening statement leading into Tanystropheus. But now that we're actually talking about it, it's just like, no, it wasn't bloodthirsty. It just likes eating small fish. Like, fucking okay, dude.
But analysis...
Also, we had a plesiosaur used as B-roll there. So, yeah, Tanystropheus, as far as I'm aware, is not particularly closely related to plesiosaurs. It is more closely related to nothing. I think Tanystropheus is just one of those weird little Triassic reptiles that was just like, I'm gonna try my own fucking thing and have no modern descendants whatsoever, because there were a lot of those back then.
Of its jaw structure proved the opposite. The aquatic reptile had long, sharp teeth which enabled it to tear up even large prey, while the sedentary neck turned its head into a deadly ram, gnawing through flesh.
That is an image of a fucking Tanystropheus being killed by a Nothosaurus. We're overhyping it. You're actually... Hold the fuck up. Hold the fuck up. I have to know what he's actually saying here.
At first, scientists were sure the clumsy Tanystropheus posed no threat to other species.
Oh, at first they thought that. But now we know that it was using its head as a battering ram due to its incredibly stiff neck. That's what we're saying here? That is insanity. I'm gonna make my neck as long and stiff as possible so that I can ram into things head on with it. And then I'm gonna bite them.
The aquatic reptile had long, sharp teeth which...
Long, sharp teeth, by the way, are really good for snatching up small fish. Just thought I'd point that out there.
enabled it to tear up even large prey, while the sedentary neck turned its head into a deadly ram, gnawing through flesh. Nonetheless, in the age of dinosaurs, even little creatures could outclass giants. The tiny Longisquama lived at the same time as Tanystropheus and was only 30 centimeters long.
How are you saying outclass giants? Like, in terms of weirdness? Because, like, yeah, it's weird in that we still don't really know what the fuck Longisquama even is. But, I guess I don't really know what you're saying in the first place besides nothing. You're saying nothing.
To have a chance to survive, it grew special antennae on its back. Nowadays, researchers think they were truly multifunctional. Using them, the tiny reptile not only attracted the opposite gender, but it could also glide in the air.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're going with the old Longisquama can fly theory. Yeah, and calling them antenna, I mean, like, fair's fair that we don't know what they are really. They are some kind of structure. Calling them antenna is just wrong. They were some kind of filamentous structure. We don't know what they were. Their purposes were probably for display. We've already got outdated facts. There's plenty of outdated facts in here. Yeah, also he said, like, attracting the opposite gender, which, like, gender and sex are used as interchangeable terms. I especially hear gender being used as a synonym for sex when used in, like, a child-friendly context. Just because you don't want to say the word sex around a child. Like, when I was playing Zoo Tycoon 1, it was just like, oh, select the gender of your animal. Yeah, if you are being scientific about it, then it's like, you probably should make the distinction.
From great heights. Moreover, the antennae could accumulate solar heat to warm Longisquama at night. Some scientists...
Okay, so that's basically saying that they were being used as like a solar panel, like people used to think with Dimetrodon and Spinosaurus. I have no idea sorry, how practical that is. I think the last time we talked about Longisquama, like, we basically came to the conclusion, it's like, I think it's an archosauriform, but we don't really know much about that, besides that, because it's just this weird little guy. I think people thought that for Stegosaurus. It's not quite the Tully monster in that, hey, it's an animal. At least we know this thing was a reptile. When we were at the Field Museum, we saw, like, a little model of a Tully monster. It was just like, man, I would buy that shit if it was in the gift shop, but they didn't have it there, and it was very sad. I even looked it up online to see if, like, hey, is there, like, a cool Tully monster model I can buy? It's like, not really. There's some plushies out there, but that's about it.
They're even sure it was a highly specific means of self-defense. Enormous dinosaurs supposedly took the antennae for thorns of inedible plants.
Okay, number one. Longisquama predated dinosaurs. It did live during the Triassic. However, dinosaurs only really started showing up in the Mesozoic towards the end of the Triassic. Longisquama predated that. Number two, saying these structures were used as not only wings, but also a form of defense because they looked like the thorns of plants. You're saying so many definitive things about the structures on the back of Longisquama, and I don't think any of them are true. I think the only thing that you got right is that it is indeed a sexual display structure. People be saying things so definitively, man, like, I think it depends. Like, what the fuck, man? Do we have anything for that? I don't think so. I mean, maybe we do. Maybe we do. Holy shit, dude. What else? Oh my god, hold on. How many things has he said about Longisquama? The structures were used... First of all, they're antennae. They were used as solar panels, sexual display structures, for flying, and to ward off predators. Holy shit, dude. I think one of those is correct. Maybe.
And didn't even try to hunt Longisquama. But other animals of the time could survive even without special tricks. Although Lystrosaurus was formerly a very ancient reptile even 255 million years ago, in fact,
Formerly a very ancient reptile? Is it not now? Yeah, Longisquama is just the fucking multi-tool of reptiles. You pull it out, it's just like, oh, yeah, one of these is Philip's head, one of these is Flathead, there's a corkscrew, a bottle opener. I'm gonna call that meaningless AI statement, because it's just like, it was formerly ancient, but I guess now it's not. Just fucking, Jesus Christ.
it really resembled a modern pig. Searching for food, it constantly dug the ground with its snout, just like today's hogs do. It did it using two sharp tusks on its upper jaw. They helped the beast find the deepest roots. But the most interesting thing is that in the world of cold-blooded dinosaurs, Lystrosaurus...
Lystrosaurus also predated dinosaurs, by the way. There were dicynodonts that survived into the end of the Triassic. We have, like, Placerius and, Ischigualastia. And yeah, saying cold-blooded dinosaurs... No, they are warm-blooded at the very least, or some kind of mesotherms or something like that. I don't know. When I was looking up dinosaur bloodedness, when I was like editing together that video, there are so many different kinds of bloodedness, man. There's like endotherms and ectotherms and mesotherms and gigantotherms. It's like I'm not making any statements about anything. I don't know enough about this. I'm pretty sure it's largely agreed that dinosaurs were like mesotherms, which I'm pretty sure all modern day birds are.
Just like pigs, was warm-blooded, belonged to the Therispida group, an intermediary evolutionary link between...
Okay, he said Therispid, it's Therapsid. In fairness, I get that wrong all the time. I don't know if that's like a dyslexia thing. I always fucking mix that up. And unlike dinosaurs being cold-blooded, this is warm-blooded. No, that is completely wrong.
Between ancient reptiles and mammals. Those animals not only learned to regulate their body temperature themselves...
Wow, so did dinosaurs. That's so crazy. So did dinosaurs, so did birds. So did dinosaurs and they became birds. Lystrosaurus is not special because it was warm-blooded. I'm very sorry. Reptiles have done that a couple of times now.
But also became the first viviparous creatures on our planet. Probably, it helped them survive.
How can you definitively say that? The first creatures on the planet to give birth to live young. No. I know for a fact that's wrong. I know for a fact that's wrong. You know why? Because Lystrosaurus was contemporary with ichthyosaurs. And those guys are fully adapted to living in the water. They can't come on land to lay their eggs. Ichthyosaurs can give birth to live young. We have fossils of ichthyosaurs in the middle of giving birth to live young. Not to mention, just like, there's arthropods that do it, there's amphibians that do it, there's other reptiles that do it. Holy shit, what a hell of a statement. I feel like this has to be from some kind of idea that only mammals give birth to live young. Like, that's the thing that defines mammals, when it's not. It's not. Not only are there even modern day mammals in the platypus and the echidna that lay eggs, but also mammals were laying eggs for quite a long time through the Mesozoic. And also, loads of fucking animals give birth to live young. There are snakes that do it. There are lizards that do it. Some kinds of chameleons do it. Rattlesnakes do it. So yeah, boas give birth. Rattlesnakes give birth. Some kinds of lizards, like chameleons. Some caecilians do it. I'm pretty sure there are arthropods that do it. Actually, yeah, I know that there are arthropods that do it. There are flesh flies. They give birth to live little maggots. They don't bother laying eggs. It's horrifying. I've seen it happen. Didn't like it. But I hate maggots, so that's just me.
Survived the Permian-Triassic mass extinction 251 million years ago.
The Permian mass extinction that killed Triceratops.
Bearing offspring is much safer than laying eggs in a hostile environment.
Not true. Yeah, that is not the benefit of giving birth as opposed to laying eggs. These are just two completely different evolutionary strategies. Like, I think that if laying eggs was that detrimental during the Permian-Triassic mass extinction event, then pretty much all egg-laying lineages would have died out. No, Lystrosaurus didn't die during the Permian-Triassic extinction event. It didn't die off during the Great Dying. It's one of the few species that I'm aware of that it's like it was around both before and after. So it actually did like definitively manage to survive. And during the after period, that's when it was like the most populous of all land vertebrates, to my understanding. Yeah, flesh flies. They look like big house flies, like they're kind of stripy looking. I always thought they were horse flies, and they kind of freaked me out. Because I'd heard about horse flies, it's just like, I do not want that fucking thing to bite me. But no, they're flesh flies. Apparently they mostly eat like rotting meat and stuff, which makes sense enough for their name. And for some reason, they give birth to live maggots, which I noticed when, like, I had a flesh fly in my house once. I still had my Black Widow spider at this point, and I, like, swatted it, and I'm just like, alright, I'm gonna put it into the Black Widow enclosure so that my spider can eat. And then, like, as it was stuck in the web, it started just, like, glooping out maggots, and I was just like, that is horrible. And I wish I never saw that.
Most interestingly, other therapsids that evolved from Lystrosaurus are our ancestors as well. Do you
yeah, we've gotten that. It's like we discussed that earlier. That is wrong. I had a Black Widow. That was like a year or two ago. She's gone now.
Feel the warm-blooded pig reptile's ancient power? Think of it while we're going deeper.
Do you ever feel the ancient warm-blooded power of the pig reptile coursing through your veins? Do you feel the pig power? Do you feel the power of the reptilian feral hogs flowing through you? I feel it. I feel it all the time.
What amazing animals dwelled on our planet before gigantic reptiles thronged it? Unfortunately.
Thrommed it? Did it? Is that a word? Thrommed? The throngler. You don't want to be on the other end of the throngler.
Scientists rarely find anything in deeper layers of Earth's crust
that is not true at all. Scientists find things from the Paleozoic all the fucking time. Do you understand?
Shaker Silver donated $1.
Oh my god.
It's like the Green Goblin quote. 40,000 years of evolution and we've barely even tapped the vastness of our pig reptile ancestors.
That's my favorite Green Goblin quote. But yeah, do you even remotely understand how fucking common it is to find trilobite fossils? They're everywhere. Like, I forgot I had so many trilobites. I got like a little guy here. Like a little curled up dude. He's very cute. He's like a little baby. I got this one. This is like the bog standard trilobite. These are like bargain bin trilobites. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. These guys, fucking everywhere. And there's this one. Danny got me this one. I think this is like a Moroccan species. Like a little long boy. This one's my favorite. This one's my favorite. Pointy boy. Look at him. Look how cool. I love him so much. This one is my favorite. Beautifully in the Matrix. Great specimen. Love this one. So, yeah, I have 4 of these. I am an amateur fossil collector. They're not hard to come by. Oh, thronged is a word, to fill or be present in. So that's what the throngler does. It fills you. It is present in you. So that's what the throngler means. Now we all know. So, do I have any other Paleozoic fossils? I don't know if I do, actually. Oh, wait, no. I do, actually. I do. How about these apples? How about this fucking slab of a Eurypterid? This wasn't that expensive. And I just buy this with money. How many of these do you think actual paleontologists are finding? This is one of the ones that is just like, alright, We could just throw this one away. We just sell this one. Fuck it, right? Let the normies have this one. I think the other Paleozoic fossils I have are like a plant imprint and a clam or something. I'm putting these guys back. Dark Souls 2 item, slab of Eurypterid. Show everything so it could pass as a business expense. Oh, hold on. We were talking about ancient whales earlier. Here's an ancient whale tooth. I think this one's pretty closely related to Ambulocetus. Look at that. Look how big that fucking thing is. That's a chomper. Business expense. Write it off on the taxes when I do them.
Relate to the Paleozoic era periods, but you'd
Yeah, no, that's just straight up wrong. We already have Jurassic Park footage. Oh yeah, there was Therizinosaurus too. I've shown off that claw so many times at this point. I've written it off. Like, that one's a write-off. We just used that one at the end of last video.
hardly want to personally meet the creatures we already know. This is Gorgonops. It lived approximately 3 million years ago.
Okay, is he going to get it confused with Inostrancevia? Because we have Inostrancevia footage here, because this is from Walking with Monsters. If he says it's from, like, Russia, Siberia, whatever, then he's talking about Inostrancevia, because Gorgonops, as far as I'm aware, is a South American species.
Most probably, just like Lystrosaurus, belonged to therapsids. But unlike its small...
Okay, a lot of things were therapsids. I'm going to assume that Gorgonops was quite a bit smaller than Inostrancevia was. But Gorgonops does have a really cool name. Inostrancevia is kind of a mouthful. Wait, did he say 3 million years ago? Hold up.
Gorgonops. It lived approximately 3 million years ago.
Yeah, he did. He said 3 million years ago, but the text said 300 million years ago. So the text was right, but he was wrong. Also, you can say that it like definitely belonged to the therapsids, because it's pretty easy to tell when something is a therapsid, because you're just basically counting the amount of holes that it has in its skull. That's basically all you're saying when you're saying that something is a therapsid or a diapsid or whatever.
But unlike its small, peaceful cousins, it could reach up to 4 meters in length.
Also saying that this is so frustrating, because it's like, unlike the lion's small, peaceful cousin, the gazelle, you know, because they're both mammals, right? That's basically what we're saying here, except I think on an even grander scale. Because you're lumping in things that aren't even, like, close to lions, that are so far back on the chain that it's just, like, it's completely different. And even then, as we're talking about in chat here, Gorgonops itself is not that big. I'm going to guess we're actually talking about Inostrancevia here.
It was an inborn killer with a whole arsenal.
Inborn? Inborn? Is that correct? You're making it sound like it's inbred. Listen, maybe they were towards the end, right? You got less options when you're all dying off. You get desperate. If they are inborn, then maybe they are like pugs. Goodness gracious.
Of deadly tools. The saber-toothed Gorgonops' front fangs were placed in such way as to instantly immobilize prey in one bite. The ancient monster had a rather primitive brain, but its one area, the cerebellum, was developed better than the rest. This organ is responsible for coordination and brisk movements during an attack. The Gorgonops' hind limbs were longer than the forelegs and could unbend completely. In other words,
could unbend completely. That's such a weird thing to say. Like, it could hold its legs straight out, like a little peanut jig, a little peanut jig of your own. Yes.
The beast could attack even bigger animals when it stood on its hind legs.
On its hind legs? This is a quadrupedal animal. What? I'm baffled, okay? Gorgonops is not bipedal at all. For another thing, I have no fucking idea what evolutionary advantage you could get from just like, aha, now I stand on my hind legs, that means I can attack you with my front legs that are made for walking around. Like, I feel like there's a reason that we don't see this sort of thing in nature, really. Like, when bears rear up on their hind legs, they're like, you know, looking around for stuff, or they're trying to make themselves just kind of look bigger to intimidate other animals. I have no fucking clue what he's saying here. Like, the Gorgonops stood on its hind legs so that way it could, like, I don't know, reach the throats of taller, stupider animals. Oh my fucking god. We're only halfway through this video.
But the strangest thing is that on some of Gorgonops' skulls, they found bizarre structures, so-called electroreceptors. A similar thing is found in modern platypuses. The electroreceptors...
Well, electroreceptors are found on the faces of lots of animals, including sharks and crocodilians. And yes, the platypus. This is true. But they're found all over the place because they're generally a pretty useful adaptation.
Receptors help them orient in water. It means Gorgonops, if needed, could chase their prey underwater. It was virtually...
Okay, so it's bipedal and semi-aquatic. I am tired.
impossible to escape from the monster. Meanwhile,
it's impossible to escape from the monster underwater as we show it attacking in this desert. But I guess that's Tanystropheus, isn't it? Did I even get like was there like a size estimate of this thing? Fuck it, dude. Well, I just don't know if he mentioned how big, oh wait, 13 feet. Yeah, that's Tanystropheus. Alright, cool, that's a bingo. Gorgonops ain't that big. That's a bingo. That was... We're only halfway through. We got bingo.
Other representatives of the ancient fauna could scare to death just with their appearance. In 1977, paleontologist Simon Conway Morris found strange fossils.
No fucking way! Yes! Yes! It's the boy! Rumbling, baby. Yes! Yes! It's Hallucigenia! Oh my fucking god. It's our boy! It's our boy! You'll love to see him.
Everything showed that the weird creatures lived about 500 million years ago. It was only 3 centimeters long and consisted of an oblong body entirely covered with odd appendages, 2 rows of spiky legs, and a row of tentacles on its back. One end of its body had a bulge, which scientists immediately identified as a head. However, they found no organs peculiar to this body part, eyes or mouth. All things considered, it seems this...
It's actually the founding titan! He's using an image of the founding titan for Hallucigenia! No fucking way! Oh my god. Please, please, for the love of God, say that Hallucigenia could only move forward. Please, please. Hallucigenia could only move forward until all of its enemies were destroyed. Please actually say that.
Strange beast had its sensory organs on one of the tentacle sets. For a long time, researchers couldn't believe that something like that could really exist on Earth. So they named the creature Hallucigenia, hinting that you could only see such a thing in a dream or a drug-induced delirium. Some paleontologists are positive that the Hallucigenia was a very specific centipede, having no analogs among known insects.
Was this ever considered to be a centipede? I feel like the fact that this is like from the Cambrian explosion deposits would kind of rule that out because nothing was living on land then. You were saying this is the 1970s. I think they knew better. Like now we know that Hallucigenia's closest modern day relatives are velvet worms, but like I can't see how a scientist would think like, oh, this must be some kind of early centipede. What the fuck are you talking about?
This suggestion is so far impossible to prove, but at least we can be happy that another prehistoric...
Okay, so he was just using that. He was just using the term centipede to transition into Arthropleura, which is what we're actually talking about here. Damn it, he didn't say that Hallucigenia could only move forward until all of his enemies were destroyed. Ah, disappointing. Disappointing. What do we got for Arthropleura?
Centipede didn't make it to modern times.
Also, that's... Arthropleura is not really a centipede. It is a stem myriapod. It's kind of somewhere in the middle between being a millipede and being a centipede. But it's definitely a lot closer to the millipede end of things.
100 million years ago, Arthropleura crawled around Earth's forests, presumably making disgusting rustling noises.
Fuck you. It would have been delightful.
But you'd hardly be afraid you could step on it by accident. The Arthropleura would probably crawl over you, as it was up to 2 meters long. Besides, the creature's shell was much tougher than modern arthropods' bodies, so not every predator could bite through it. But even animals with really sharp fangs rarely
Look at these two.
attempted to kill Arthropleura, as apart from all the rest, it could spit venom.
That's thumbnail bait. That right there is thumbnail bait. Oh my god. There is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Arthropleura could, spit venom. I'm in shock. There are no modern millipedes or centipedes that spit venom.
Arthropleura takes control of Squidward's house.
And starts rampaging through the city, leaving the mayor to give Squidward community service. Even though Arthropleura was the one inside of his house all along. So, a lot of millipedes are poisonous to some degree, or at least they'll be like very foul tasting and stinky. Stinky!
And to hit the bullseye, the insect could stand on its hind limbs and draw itself erect. So next
Draw itself erect. Oh. Tell me less. My goodness.
time you're scared of a centipede in the kitchen, think that at least you won't have to fight an over 2 meter tall monster spraying
Tall. He called it tall.
venom in your eyes. 300 million years ago, Arthropleura virtually had no enemies, except maybe a prehistoric scorpion.
Well, luckily for Arthropleura, Pterygotus lived in the water.
Pterygotus, which lived at about the same time. In its size, it was as large as the ancient centipede. Its
Also, I'm pretty sure this is footage of Brontoscorpio, not Pterygotus, which is weird because there is a... I don't remember what is the giant sea scorpion from Walking with Monsters, but there is a large Pterygotus resembling sea scorpion in this very episode, or like this very segment, so you really should be using footage of that and not Brontoscorpio.
body length was around 2 meters. On its head, Pterygotus had a number of ommatidia, special vision organs that altogether made parts of the eye. It allowed the giants
Oh, you cut out the part where it stings the camera. Right, Pterygotus is the one from Walking with Monsters, and Jacalopterus is the biggest one overall. Now I remember it. I gotta get my sea scorpions right. I'm a proud sea scorpion dad now. Yeah, like, and the real thing to keep in mind here is that Pterygotus wouldn't even bother going after Arthropleura because it's way too busy eating human flesh.
But Pterygotus' most
There it
terrible
is.
weapon was its claws. Each of them had a dozen sharp spikes, so when the scorpion closed its forelimbs, they pierced through the prey. Pterygotus
Pierced
didn't even have to
through the
chew its
prey.
prey, as thanks to the claws,
Didn't have to chew its prey. It's an arthropod. Arthropods don't chew their prey. I mean, tarantulas kind of do. Sort of ish. That's a big fat kind. This isn't really chewing though. What arthropods do is really not tantamount to chewing. I mean, you're not wrong in that it didn't have to chew its prey, but you're wrong in that would even be considered in the first place because it's a fucking arthropod.
it could shred it up before swallowing it. Moreover, this ancient scorpion was one of the first creatures on Earth which began making ambushes instead of chasing its prey.
One of the first creatures to make ambushes instead of chasing its prey. How can you say that definitively? How is... How? Why? Huh? You stupid? I can't even dispute that. You're just stupid.
Initially, scientists thought the animal lived around water bodies and often swam.
No, you are not gonna say that Therizinosaurus is going on to land. But he's gonna show the footage of the Brontoscorpio going on to land because he's been using so much Brontoscorpio footage. He's going to, I know he is.
But recent research suggests that the scorpion most probably spent a great deal of time underwater, just like today's crocodiles.
Wait, what? You're saying scientists originally thought it lived underwater, but now you think it lives underwater? Can I hear that again, please?
Chasing its prey. Initially, scientists thought the animal lived around water bodies and often swam. But recent research suggests that the scorpion most probably spent a great deal of time underwater, just like today's crocodiles. Perfect place for an ambush. But the deep antiquity seas hid a lot of even more.
Okay, okay. I'm counting that as AI repeats itself. Holy fucking shit, dude. Originally, it was thought that this thing lived in the water, but now scientists believe that it spent its time in the water. The perfect place to set up an ambush. Fuck are you talking about? Yeah, it's waiting to ambush all the things coming to the water. To the ocean, like to take a drink, right? In like the Silurian period when this thing was living, or the Devonian, or whatever the fuck it was.
What unbelievable beasts roamed the oceans millions of years ago? Among such was helicoprion, which first emerged around 290 million years ago. It was something like...
We're bouncing all over the Paleozoic now. Like, we started off with Gorgonops, which I believe is Permian. And then we went to Hallucigenia, which is Cambrian explosion. And then we're just like jumping over to Arthropleura, which is Carboniferous, jumping over to Therizinosaurus, which I think is Devonian actually. And now we're jumping over to helicoprion, which is a Permian again.
Like a 10-meter-long shark, but with an absolutely incredible jaw.
Okay, he said it was like a shark. I want to see if he's going to like end up saying it is a shark, or if he's gonna like correctly say that it's like basically a big ratfish.
Modern sharks shed old teeth, making space for new ones. Helicoprion never dropped its teeth. The new teeth simply replaced the old ones, moving them to the front, and they went spiral together with the jaw. It resulted in...
I don't think that's how that works at all. I think you have it completely backwards, because that doesn't make any sense. You're basically saying that, like, when the teeth move forward into the rule, or into the whorl, rather, they're shrinking. That's not how teeth work, my dude. I'm afraid it's not how teeth work.
And something like a scary saw on the chin. Besides, helicoprion's huge mouth opened much wider than that of modern sharks. It captured prey with the backward bent front teeth, then closed the mouth abruptly, and the spiral-toothed jaw automatically
I have no idea if there's any research, or if it's even possible to definitively say if helicoprion could open its jaw, like, wider than modern-day sharks, especially because modern-day sharks have pretty damn big gapes. Great white sharks can take a fucking chunk out of stuff, and let's not even get into cookie-cutter sharks, where their gape is basically their entire fucking face. Even then, without, like, evidence of the actual head itself outside of the whorl, which, as far as I know, is pretty much all we have of helicoprion and its relatives, you really can't say that definitively. You're stupid.
Shredded the prey. Though with such a torture device a tilt, helicoprion couldn't swim fast. But the next...
What? You're saying that because of the tooth whorl, it couldn't swim fast? What? That's ridiculous. How would you even figure that? Yeah, he was saying that, like, the fucking... because helicoprion had the tooth whorl, it couldn't swim very fast. But I feel like he's about to start talking about Dunkleosteus right now. Like, he's just, like, left us off on a completely fucking baffling note. I don't understand.
Next monster succeeded even in that. Dunkleosteus, the prehistoric fish...
Jumping back to the Devonian again.
...lived as much as 350 million years ago and could grow up to 15 meters long and weighed about...
15 meters? I think we have wild size overestimate. That is yet another bingo. Holy shit, that's big for even pre-shrunk dunk. 50 feet long. That's bigger than T-Rex. That's insane. Even pre-shrunk dunk. That is like 2 pre-shrunk dunks stacked end to end. That's bigger than the Jurassic World Evolution 2 one by a lot. You are insane. You're a crazy person.
4 tons. It caught literally anything in its way with its mouth.
Including and especially other Dunkleosteus. It was evolved to kill itself. Just like me.
Surprisingly enough, one of the most furious marine predators had no teeth at all. Instead, it had a pair of bone razors, solid, sharp plates simply chopped prey, just like a butcher's axe. Dunkleosteus' bite force was about...
Also, did I accidentally turn on subtitles? Because I feel like these haven't been on for the whole video. Paleontologist here, I love your work. What horrors are being unleashed today? Oh boy! So how big do you think Dunkleosteus was? How do you feel about 50 feet long and 4 tons of pure unadulterated fish? How do you feel about Hallucigenia being a centipede? What else? Helicoprion couldn't swim fast because of its buzzsaw face. We thought that Pterygotus lived in the water, but actually it turns out it lives in the water. Arthropleura could spit venom. Hallucigenia is literally just the attack titan. Or the founding titan even. Oh, there's so much. This is so awful.
7,500 newtons. To compare, a human's bite force is only 300 newtons.
Man, Dunkleosteus could eat donuts made out of anything.
But the most significant advantage the ancient monster had was its agility. Dunkleosteus...
You're saying that Helicoprion couldn't move fast because it had a buzzsaw for a face. Dunkleosteus has a head made out of pure fucking armor, and yet its advantage is in agility? I'm good. Sure.
And this ancient fish was so aggressive that it often attacked its own kin. Numerous marks.
Okay, are we done? Are we done with Dunkleosteus? Are we done with Dunkleosteus, please? I can't handle this anymore.
Left by the typical bone razors on fossil Dunkleosteus.
That's a Helicoprion jaw. Move along, please.
Prove it. But what about even more ancient exotic animals?
You mean like Hallucigenia, like you've already covered? You're not going backwards in time. You're jumping around all over the Paleozoic.
Most of the fossils of more or less large creatures we found come from the Cambrian period.
Wait.
Fossils of more or less large creatures we...
Most of the fossils of more or less large creatures we found came from the Cambrian. So, I want to say that the biggest animal we know of from the Cambrian is like Adrocassus, right? That's the biggest thing we know. I'm pretty sure this is Cambrian, right? Early Ordovician. Okay, so even then, Anomalocaris is probably the biggest thing we know from the Cambrian then. I want to say Anomalocaris is like maybe a meter long. That might be too big, actually. Yeah, that's too big. It's like half a meter. Omnidens? All right, let's try that. That's a cool name. Okay, so yeah, this is probably the biggest thing from the Cambrian. Yeah, 4.5 feet. Largest known free-living Cambrian organism. So yeah, besides like a coral or something. Or like a sponge. Like, yeah, Omnidens is probably going to be the biggest thing. Like Omnidens, Anomalocaris, those are your big boys of the Cambrian. Like, what do you mean by more or less large creatures? That's such a fucking nothing statement. Maybe they were big, maybe they were small, I don't really know. At the end of the day, they're all just rocks in the ground.
We found come from the Cambrian period, which began approximately 538 million years ago.
Why are you showing the Pre-Cambrian with the little arrow then? Why?
The Pre-Cambrian era was long considered the period of unicellular organisms.
Why are you talking about the Pre-Cambrian now? You were just talking about the Cambrian. Those are two very different periods. Fuck!
Until one incredible discovery. In 1957, 2 school children climbing mountains in Charnwood, the UK, found strange imprints among rocks. The children invited researchers from the local university to look at the traces in the stone, but the scholars were skeptical. The region's rocks formed in the Pre-Cambrian era, and the scientists didn't expect to see anything interesting. How wrong they were. At closer inspection of the rocks, they found imprints of large plants which had been previously.
Okay, call me crazy. Call me crazy. I don't think that's a plant. You're probably the kind of guy who thinks that a fucking sea anemone is a plant. Or, I don't know, like a feather duster star. I don't think that's a plant. Call me crazy. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I don't think plants had evolved by that point. So
Believed impossible. When the scientists began studying other Pre-Cambrian residues, they found many more mysterious fossils. This bizarre.
also we just could, like, he was talking about the Cambrian and we've completely glossed over it. We're just in the Pre-Cambrian now, looking at little goobers.
Bizarre creature Tribrachidium lived 560 million years ago and had a unique, complex anatomy. It consisted of 3 segments, each ending with a tentacle. Its length could vary. Perhaps those creatures back then, in deep antiquity, developed sexual dimorphism, and females looked different from males.
Or they could have been at different growth stages. Or they could have been 2 different species, or genera, or something. Who is to say that these creatures even have sexes? At this point, this early on in evolution, who is to say that these even have sexes? They might be hermaphroditic. Who knows?
This find radically changed paleontologists' view
Snippety
of how
snap!
life on our planet evolved. Now they can't.
Can we go to Snippety Snab, please? Can we talk about Opabenia? My beloved Snippety Snab.
Attribute Tribrachidium to any of the known animal groups. But this fascinating antique fauna also had bloodthirsty predators.
No.
In the mid-20th century, Australian geologist Reginald Sprigg found an odd fossil animal that was eventually named after him. Spriggina turned out even more ancient.
This is a bloodthirsty predator? This little critter? This little critter? You just want to use, like, bloodthirsty in your transitions, like, every single time, don't you? You did that for Tanystropheus. Motherfucker.
Than Tribrachidium and had a characteristic shape that resembles an oval or an arrow. It had a soft body covered with tiny spikes and bulges. Spriggina was
I'm covered in tiny spikes and bulges, bitch.
initially assigned to a group of mollusk-like organisms, but later research revealed that its anatomy didn't match any of the existing animal groups. Moreover, cholesterol molecules were found in its fossils, which may indicate that Spriggina was a predator. The specific structure of its
Cholesterol molecules were found, and that suggests it was a predator. Maybe it's just fat. Maybe it's just a fat little fuck. Maybe he's made out of fucking noodles. I could jump to stupid ass conclusions just by looking at things. Or hey, maybe it was a meat eater because there's no fucking plants. Because they didn't exist yet. I believe through the presence of cholesterol that this was an Italian.
body plates can be another proof of it. Assuming that
The body plates are proof that it was a predator? Fucking Dunkleosteus is one of the only, like, armored predators, besides, like, things like arthropods, which their skin is basically armor, that I even know of. Most armored things are herbivores or prey animals because they don't want to get eaten. It was probably eating detritus or something, like a clam, the dangerous predator, as you can tell by its armor, known as the clam. Clams. Coming to theaters 2026. Okay, crocodiles. Yeah, I guess that I guess that counts, yeah. It's not fully armored like an ankylosaur or a Dunkleosteus or a Glyptodon or something, but I'll give you that one at least.
Spriggina participated in bloody fights, it could cause severe injuries to its opponents using its plates. So
Using its plates? I'll bump into you. I swear to God I will. We'll call it a draw? We'll call it a draw. Did blood even exist back then? This is the Pre-Cambrian. Was there even blood? Do they have it? I know that some animals predate the concept of blood, like sea spiders. Or like, their blood's really weird. Did they even have blood?
500 million years ago, before the gigantic dinosaurs and other beasts appeared, you'd barely be able to walk safely on Earth.
Okay, he's not wrong, but he's wrong that it would be as a result of creatures. You wouldn't be able to walk safely on Earth because there was no fucking oxygen in the atmosphere. Let's just finish this already.
Nevertheless, some researchers of antiquity think we only see a part of the Pre-Cambrian picture of the world.
No
They
shit.
believe that Spriggina, Tribrachidium, and other vines
Hey, there's Arthropleura. Look at him, paddling around. What a little guy.
from that period might only be fragments of other, more complex living beings that only
Oh, hold up. Do we have something here? Do we have an AI-generated image? We've been doing good for a while now. I think we might have one. Because I have no idea what this is. Like, this doesn't look like anything created with intention.
left a partial imprint in stone.
Oh yeah, it's AI. 100% AI. Yeah, wow. But he threw in the AI-generated image, like, right in the second, like, right in the last second. There's a minute left of this video. And it's just like, you had to get one last one in there.
There's even a theory according to which we deal with the traces of real aliens that attempted to colonize Earth by bringing a zoo of beasts from the other world. But the most interesting thing is that owing to the acute lack of information about the Pre-Cambrian period, it's simply impossible to refute this theory scientifically. What about you? Do you think that the most unusual animals of the past could be visitors from space?
You can't prove it wasn't aliens, bro. Oh my god. I am in shock. Fucking aliens. The outlandish thumbnail bait just kept getting better and better as the list went on. I can't believe that was even a real video. I think we all learned more from this channel than we did back in school. Zach, I want to help you. I want to help you, Zach. I want to help you, Zach. I want to educate you. I don't want this to be your education, please. It was a bug's world, and mold or fungus mushrooms everywhere, toadstools too, but very big ones, both bugs and moldy things. A Bug's World. The sequel to Bug's Life. We're getting Randy Newman back. I want a bug, little bug. Best channel ever made, Moai. The giant sloths. They found those in Tennessee, Tennessee to be exact. Along with giant bears, big cats, and several other extinct species. It's really cool. I like this. A haiku. Holy fuck. That was really bad. That was really bad. Fun fact, T-Rex was actually a dragon. Crying, laughing, crying, laughing. All lies. Read Genesis chapter 1. God made everything, Adam and Eve. Nah, I feel the sweet blood of Jesus flowing through me. Nice try, though. Smiley face. Arrows pointing left and right. Yeah, the biggest problem with this video is that it was boring. That's the problem. I'm blown away by this fucking video. This was... I think this might have been one of the worst ones that we have ever watched. It's just like... There was so much wrongness crammed in to... It's like every minute less we had to go over something that was completely ridiculous. And like, hey, we did get a double bingo. We got the diagonal, we got the down, and fuck, we were close to a couple other ones. I'm very surprised that we didn't get Megalodon. for like how many stock Cenozoic creatures we had. I'm very surprised at that.